So hello everybody. This is Lucia and Claire.
Hello.
And we are experimenting with just sharing these conversations that we find ourselves in that have been really inspiring and transforming and expanding in how we see things and how we feel about things, and even just how we move through our emotions and having realizations. So we're going to get started here. Before I get started, I'm going to say I'm really passionate about awareness and self-love, and help people learn how to have loving, conscious relationships and bring more awareness to who they are. And I've been on my own journey of self-discovery and self-love for some time now, and really have a lot of wisdom and insight to share, and just really want to share more of this with you all. So I hope you find it helpful. Do you want to say something?
Sure. So I'm Claire, and I have a passion for love and exploring this new love revolution that we're all being called to. And what does that mean? How does that show up? How does that feel? Just discovering and adventuring in all the different aspects of love, and the depth of the meaning of that, and kind of challenging our social norms of what love is and what people think love is and how we show up. So that's been what I've been called to. I've been on a deep new level of my spirituality and journey the last couple years. And as I say that, I'm rubbing my heart because it's been a heart expanding, opening, a breakdown, all of the above experience. It still continues to be. So I find such value in hearing other people's stories and experiences. And so that's something that I want to share, and hope that it's of value to other people as well as to myself, getting to verbalize kind of the journey that I see and that I've been going through, and that I'm sure many people are as well. So that's a little bit about me.
Thank you. So let's both take a deep breath. So the topic today will be around self-worth. This was inspired by someone I just recently went to go and see in the hospital that's dealing with some inflammation in his gut, and has been my journey around really learning who I am as a being. It's a big topic.
Yes.
Who are we? And what makes us worthy? And what is self-worth? This is in the field right now. To me, self-worth is really about my being rather than my doing. And it's taken me a lot of unraveling and reconnecting, I guess, with what's real, beyond my belief system or my conditioning around what I think I am and who I think I am, and how that plays out in my life. So what's your experience of just what self-worth is to you? Or
wow. Yeah. Hearing you is so inspiring to me, because it invokes just so much when you share. So thank you. Self-worth definitely has been a big topic for me as well coming up, especially in terms of getting to the root of things that were happening and I didn't realize that they were tied to worth. because these surface things sometimes that occur and we don't realize like the depth of where they're coming from. And when you can keep asking questions and diving deeper and deeper and deeper, and then all of a sudden it was coming out like in a fit of emotion, like, I don't feel worthy. And then to feel the sadness around that, like, how could I not feel worthy? And to just be able to sit in that, and because I know I am. And I just remember this moment. I was sitting with my really dear best friend, and I was crying to her, and she started crying. Like, she was so sad to think that I felt I didn't feel worthy when I had come to that point. Like, it was like kind of a proverbial like rock bottom point for me. But to be able to take that and like keep going forward. And it wasn't like a magical moment where I was like completely shifted and now everything's changed. It was like, wow, like this is another thing that I really want to keep in my awareness and just be conscious of, and kind of walk forward from there and find what is worthiness, like you had said. And I mean, I don't know, like, what do you think exhibits worthiness?
Well, what comes to me is just, it's such a tragedy for me to realize that most of us don't know who we really are.
Right.
It's such a tragedy.
It is.
And yet the gift of that is the journey of discovering the truth of who we are.
Right.
And the compassion and the humility and the grace that comes from that journey, that really ultimately only each individual of us can go through, like, I need to do the journey for myself. You can't do it for me.
Yeah.
Like, so sometimes that's painful to watch and witness other people going through struggle and hardship and heartache in life, not feeling really that I can do anything about it.
Right.
Yet what I can do is to be me and to hold space as me and to illuminate whatever wants to be illuminated, without having the need to fix, change, solve, or heal anything, but just to allow whatever is in the field to be there as it is in its pure form.
Yeah.
Not even labeling it as negative or positive, good or bad, right or wrong. You know, high vibration, low vibration, like,
right.
You know, we often do as you know, in the spiritual sort of path. I feel really I'm being called to be a space holder for the truth of what this true self-worth is really about. And ultimately, when I'm like, it's such a cosmic joke because I'm such a mystery to myself. And as soon as I ask myself, who am I? You know, and you know, who's this deserving part of me? And is that an entitlement? And I, you know, this whole thing around my wants and my needs, and you know, as a human being, and all the things that come with that. It's just really quite extraordinary. And so I'm really being called on a whole nother level to come out and to really share this spaciousness that I'm learning about right now, and what that really feels like and looks like, and how it wants to play with itself. And
I feel that with you.
So,
it's
know,
so neat.
I love that when we have these conversations and they're so intimate. You know, this true intimacy for me is having these honest, vulnerable conversations where we can really touch our soul and our heart, the heart of who we are, of really like feeling like so alive and engaged in this mystery. Because the more I go into it, the more I realize I have absolutely no idea what it is.
And there's joy in that. Like, it's exciting sometimes. As well as there is sadness sometimes. You're like, what is this? I feel so...
Well, exactly. A lot of the time I feel lost and confused.
Right.
You know, I want to know. And,
yes.
you know,
frustration. I feel that.
Yeah, frustration. And like, can't somebody just tell me what this is so I can, like, plan my life?
I know. Well, when you were talking about the spaciousness that you've created, I immediately thought the way that you express that, or that comes naturally, is how we take Lucia and I take Aikido together, and our sensei says often when you come into class that she doesn't recognize you. And I think with the spaciousness that you've created, it's the ability to allow whatever is coming through at that time to come through, and that then translates itself through the way that you're looking and presenting yourself, because you're just allowing whatever's there to show. And that's so amazing. Like, that's very brave. And I think that's an exhibition of down at the root worthiness, like you showing and your worthiness by allowing whatever is there to just happen, instead of being attached or defined to anything. I don't know. I think that's a beautiful show of that, because it also shows a power to walk through fear, because I can imagine, and in my own journey, like, allowing that is very fearful, because it then comes with, like, well, what's gonna come? Is it gonna be okay? Am I gonna be okay? And then you just allow it, and that's, like, so freeing and exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, it's absolutely wild to not really know who I am in each moment, and just trust that whatever arises is what needs to be there. And, you know, partly what I feel in our culture, we're taught to identify what we do as who we are. Our achievements, our accomplishments, external values and things that show us that we are, you know, worthy of, you know, being great or receiving or being loved. And so, which is really unfortunate because, you know, those things are great, and there's an unlearning that we get to explore around what true self-worth really is. As Adyashanti says in one of his books, through the storyline, love can enter. Or beyond the storyline, love can enter. So it's kind of like...
Isn't it also about the cracks?
Yes, exactly.
Cracks.
That's what it is.
That's what it is, yeah.
Beyond the storyline...
The cracks in the storyline.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm messing the whole thing up. But
yeah. What book was that from?
I think it's called Falling into Grace.
Falling into Grace. Okay. Yeah, and you've talked about that book. Yeah.
And ultimately, our beliefs often dictate our value. That's what we're taught. You know, what we believe about ourselves.
Right.
And I'm challenging that belief that we are innately whole and complete without a belief. That we don't actually have to do anything in order to prove ourselves, so we can be loved, so we can feel accepted, so we can, you know, feel valued in the world.
We can just allow. It's like it reminded me of Matt Kahn. That's actually how Lucia and I met, at Matt Kahn. But how he says, whatever arises, love that, in his book. And that is like whatever's there. It's so powerful. There's so many layers to that.
And for me, I'll go a step deeper into saying, what if you don't love that? So my invitation is all about whatever arises, be with that and see what the feeling is.
Right.
Because it might be really hard to love anger.
Right.
How do I love my anger? But if I just take a moment and be with my anger, then it's at least has a moment to feel acknowledged, because anger is a consciousness, is a very powerful consciousness.
Right. And being is like a step, almost it feels like a step before being able to fully love it, because being is an easier jump, I think, in our minds. Because it's like, I can be with this. I'm not quite there to love it yet, maybe. Or to feel like I am.
This is so great, because what's the difference between being and loving?
know.
Ultimately, but the mind has a stigma attached about, I have to like it if I have to love it.
Right. And that's the whole thing, is going through this journey while respecting that that's how our mind works sometimes. And, that these cultural beliefs that we have about what love is, or just our automatic... I think a majority of the people, when we think of love, it's like when you're talking about loving, was it anger?
Yeah.
Anger. It's like, and it's kind of like an opposing thing. Like, well, how can I love that? So I appreciate that you're saying being, because it seems smoother to say being, and then maybe get to a point where you can say that you love it. It's just it's a transition, and it respects our journey in this world, where it doesn't spiritually bypass, right?
Well, most of us don't really talk about being.
Yeah, I know.
We talk about what we need to do, and what do you do, and how much have you gotten done today, and this whole productive kind of craze, and how many people write a to being list?
I like that. I think that's a good list. Oh my gosh. I think you've just thought of a good
what would you write on
little
there?
Worksheet to do. Being, gosh, today I am being.
That's all I'm doing is being.
I like it. What would we say on that? I'm being now. I'm being here. I'm being... it could go with every breath. What is being? What is becoming? What is there? It's powerful.
It's a mystery to the mind, right? You can't there's nothing to grab onto.
You can't.
And yet there's always an invitation to say, hey, let's go to the beach and just be.
Right.
Or let's just be together, beyond words. We don't have to talk. We don't have to engage in conversation. We can just be. How many people gaze into each other's eyes without any words and just be together? That's a form of self-love and recognizing our true worth.
Even comfort in just silence. I think that's the same in being silent together.
Oh, I just remembered the quote.
Oh.
Through the cracks of the storyline, love can enter.
Yes.
So our storyline are our beliefs of what we're saying about ourselves or to ourselves, our inner dialogue.
That's beautiful. That's there's an Asian art where they take bowls. Have you seen that? And when bowls crack, they fill the holes with gold and put them back together.
Oh, wow.
So they don't fix them, just gluing them back together and trying to match them up. They actually fill the cracks with gold. And it's based on that spiritual principle that our cracks are where the gold is. So it just reminds me of that. Like, that's where love is. So beautiful.
That is beautiful. And as a culture, don't most of us thrive on being busy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I still do.
And so where are the cracks in being busy?
No space when you're busy. Space is a whole nother thing. Creating space.
So part of that is, for me, is slowing down. Slowing down my tempo, slowing down how I am in my day, and just allowing space to be.
And that is so the antithesis of what we're conditioned and what we're surrounded by. And immediately, when I've been practicing that too, slowing down, and it's brought up so much because slowing down gives us more time to be with ourselves, which is more time to be with things that we've pushed aside, which is more, it just creates that space for more to emerge, which is sometimes really scary for people. And that's why the busyness is the distraction, but yet that's where more beauty comes in the space.
Because what does space, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So what does space really give us is space to feel.
Yes.
Space to feel. When we slow down, we listen in a different way, and then the feeling kicks in. The sensations of actually what we're feeling in that moment has space to breathe and be paid attention to.
Right.
So these are just thoughts and feelings and experiences of what's happening